it felt more than
You think it was
it felt more than just, no, that's just the way the cookie crumbles and that's the way the board fell and it was just the best player and the best value and that's just how it worked, that it was defense. Like I believe that to a certain extent, but when 6 of the 7 guys you draft are defense.
okay?
And when every major acquisition you make in the offseason and free agency is defense. I mean, who was the major offensive acquisition this year in free agency? Could we even name that guy off the top of our head? That wasn't a re-sign? That wasn't somebody that wasn't one of their own that they brought back? Can we even name that guy off the top of our head?
They inked Trey McBride to a contract extension.
Okay, but that's I just said, somebody
Jacoby
you were bringing back. There you go. That's
Jacoby
probably
Brissett.
the premier one.
You got a quality veteran backup quarterback.
There's just too much evidence that is kind of being presented in front of all of us as Cardinal fans to say, that's just kind of the way the board went, and we just kind of followed the board, and I get that. I get that, but it just seems way too coincidental that 6 of the 7 were defense.
So based on our information going into the draft, we had said several times that once you get past like the 4th offensive tackle, it falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
There are no good offensive tackles after that. They didn't take an offensive tackle.
No.
So I don't think, here's my feeling, I don't think they liked the offensive tackles in this draft once you got past the first 3 guys.
But that's just one offensive position.
That's one position.
That's ignoring guard, that's ignoring wide receiver, that's ignoring those are the other 2.
Right. I just know about tackle. Guard-wise, you're right. Could they have taken a guard somewhere? Maybe they could have taken a guard somewhere. What I do know is that they went really crazy on defense and free agency in the draft to the point where we used to sit there last year and say, it's the offense is expected to carry the team. The defense is going to be any good. We've got to start questioning whether it's going to be a reversal this year.
Okay, so Monty Austinfort was asked about that today when he was on Wolf and Luke. It's a longer answer, but I want to play it all for its context.
I have not heard it, so I'm ready.
Is the team's identity changing? Here's what Monty told Wolf and Luke.
Yeah, Luke, I think really it's a lot of times it's a big factor of especially in free agency is you can only go get the players that are free agents, and I know that sounds simple, but the players that are available are the only guys that you can go get, and that just so happened to match up with us. The guys that we got this year were on the defensive side, and then as it pertains to defense or to the draft, I'm sorry, it's very similar. I mean, we talked about multiple offensive players in the draft, and it just so happened that, when it was our time to pick, that the defensive guy is the one that stuck out as highest on our board at the time. And so, again, we didn't go in thinking that this was going to be the case, that we were going to load up on defense. It's just how it worked out. And, in terms of is there a philosophy change? I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, we're always going to add talented players that we think fit us both on the field and in the locker room. And so whenever we can do that, increase the competition, add talent, improve our team, we're going to do that regardless of what position or what side of the ball.
I love the answer. The depth is ridiculous right now. I mean, they're gonna be the envy of other teams with the amount of depth that they have. Like, a lot of times we used to look at the waiver wire and say, well, what you're looking for is a team that's got 5 or 6 really good players at this one position, and they're going to cut one, and that guy's better than everybody on your roster except for 2 guys. And you may get to that point where the Cardinals have to let go of a guy that might be their 6th best linebacker, but somewhere else he might be the 3rd best, or a 6th best defensive lineman that somewhere else might be the 4th best. It's just their depth is really, really good right now. I do think that the identity is changing a little bit. So I know he's saying no. You still got Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. You got Kyler Murray. But I do think the identity is changing a little bit to defense.
And so I think we're on the same page here because I hear what Monty is saying. I hear what he said over the weekend. I heard what he said on Wolf and Luke today. But it feels like the identity is changing. And it feels like, and you're absolutely right, this time a year ago, the whole idea was Kyler's got to be elite. The offense has to be elite. Drew Petzing has to be elite because the defense is way behind. They're way behind on talent. They've got the youngest coordinator in the NFL, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to have to win games because of their offense. Now it feels like they've committed so many resources to the defense. They've added so many guys in free agency and in the draft and premier guys at premier position that it does feel like the way we're going to expect the Cardinals to win games this year is going to be flipped. And you know what? If we're being honest, that's probably, I don't want to say how it should be, but I think it's.
Oh, you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Just
like,
go
yeah,
there.
It almost
go
feels
all
like
the way.
how it should be in terms of the NFL and relying on your defense to keep you in every single game you play, so you're not asking your quarterback to be Superman every day, all the time, every down, and you're so reliant on that.
People are different, but the best teams in my lifetime were the Bears that won the Super Bowl with that great defense, the Giants with Lawrence Taylor, they won 2 Super Bowls, the Ravens with Ray Lewis. Now, that's me. Other people may say, I like the 49ers with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And so I get it. I tend to think that if you said to me, you could be dominant on one side of the ball, what team? I want defense.
Mm-hmm.
I want a dominant defense. Because the dominant defense makes things easy for your offense, okay? They're going to give you a great field position. There's going to be 3 and out. You're going to wear out the other team. So if you said to me, what can I have? I would rather have a dominant defense than a dominant offense. It's not as exciting. It's not as flashy. I get it. But I would prefer defense.
Yeah, and it minimizes, to a certain extent, it minimizes Kyler Murray. Now, look, the flip side of this coin, too, is, and I'm not going to say everything's great on offense, but look at what we're expecting to be great next year for the offense. It's another year of Kyler and Trey McBride. Okay, that was awesome last year. There's no reason to think it won't be awesome next year. We're all expecting a massive leap out of Marvin Harrison Jr. And if it doesn't happen, frankly, we've got some big problems, right? We're all expecting that to happen. We think Trey Benson is going to take a big leap in terms of what he contributes offensively. The offensive line, if there's one thing, it's not even the wide receiver position, Gambo. If there's one thing I would have liked to have seen the Cardinals do a little bit earlier in the draft,
offensive lineman.
And offensive lineman. Somebody who could have, because are they bringing back Will Hernandez? I don't know. Is that part of the plan? How healthy is he going to be when
He's got to
the
get
season
healthy
starts?
first.
But it almost is like, I don't want to say they're operating on the premise that he's going to be back, but it kind of feels like they're operating under the premise that he's going to be back as their guard.
Well, I just think,
and they're not worried about it.
I just think that after free agency and the draft, okay, now that's an option. It may not have been. They weren't interested in signing Will Hernandez because of the injury. Like, he has to get healthy. He's got to prove he can play. I mean, it's like DJ Humphries, 2 years ago. Like, he wasn't healthy. Like, you had to let him go. But I think after you get through these two, you're like, we really, what's your options now? Free agency is over. So, what's your options in adding guys?
There's still guys out there.
There's some undrafted free agents, but what's your chances?
No, I meant in free agency. There's still some guys out there, but a lot of them are like Will Hernandez, who have injury questions, or they're asking for too much money. And undrafted, I don't think you can count on undrafted free agents to come in. Maybe they're counting on Isaiah Adams taking that giant leap from year 1 to year 2, and everything's going to be fine at right guard, and he's going to start.
Well, and don't forget the kid from Austria that they signed, undrafted free agent. I mean, the guy's probably going to be pretty good.
I would imagine.
They signed a UConn offensive lineman from Wolders, Austria, to a undrafted free agent contract. I mean, I love it. Let's see what he can do.
Are you're going to scout while you're there? Is that why you bring that up?
I'm going to be in Austria.
Scouting?
They signed a guy from Austria. That's so cool.
It's just we'll see. The defense on paper right now with Nick. I mean, think about Nick Rollis a year ago. Nick Rollis did so much more with so much less, and now you've just given him so much more.
I'll just ask you a quick.
So much more.
Which unit has a better chance to be top 10, offense or defense?
Oh, defense.
I think so, too.
I think it's
I'm not saying, like, top 10.
Top 10.
Which unit has a better chance to be a top 10 unit?
Yeah, it's defense.
It's probably defense.
It's defense. Yep. I would agree. And just based off of the massive amount of resources that they've delivered to that side of the football, now it's on the offense to see if they can raise their level of play and their game, so to speak, without any major additions. And that's going to call for improvement from within.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.